Assalamu alaikum friends, welcome to day 9 of AFM revision crash course, and the topic is the much awaited topic for not only you, for me as well, because I personally love this topic so much. Okay, not only when I was a student, but now I love it while teaching us. I love to teach this topic, right? It's one of my the most favorite, and it's one of the easiest also to score. If you get it as a 25 marks question, you can be sure that at least 25 marks or at least 24, 23 you can secure in your pocket from this question. Okay, so let's start without wasting much time. Here we are going to focus on past exam, the risk framework, because some theories are needed. You will be getting some questions no matter what. Just not the calculation, but focus on the discussion as well. Specific types of risk: political risk, economic risk, regulatory risk, fiscal risk, credit risk. We are going to explain what each of this risk means. Okay, and value at risk. Value at risk actually comes in your investment appraisal, but maybe because it is risk, so maybe they have put it under risk management. Maybe because of the term risk. But anyway, it does not matter where it falls. Thing is, you need to understand the concept. Okay, from the past exam history, risk management question. Another question which is 110% you are going to get it. You will not see a AFM paper without a risk management question in it. Okay, it can come as question number 1 or 2 or 3. As you can see from here, it comes in any question. Okay, you can see the topics that has been asked. Value at risk came once, sensitivity, risk management discussion, derivative market technology, probability analysis, capital investment monitoring. That is basically like capital rationing. Okay, that comes from investment appraisal. But anyway, risk framework. All projects are risky. Before you understand hedging risk, you need to understand what risk is, types of risk, and how you can manage those risks. See, understand all projects are risky. You cannot say there is a project which does not have a risk. All projects are risky. The difference is some might have less, some might have more. Or maybe the nature. Some might be strategic risk, which is the higher level of risk. Some will be tactical or operational day-to-day risk. Okay. A risk framework covers all those. Okay. If you're having a risk framework in an organization, you are aware of the risk. You know what risk is. When does it arise? Whether it is material or not. You can actually make some kind of estimate on how to work on that. But if you're not even aware of the risk, you do not have a risk framework, how are you going to manage the risk? You understand? This is like an introduction to risk management. You don't have to write all this in your exam, but having a good understanding of this not only helps in your AFM, but also in SBL or your audit or any paper. Because risk is everywhere, right? All the papers have risk. Second, risk monitoring. After you are aware, you can monitor the risk, right? It's like an alert system. You know what risk occurred, at what level, and when it needs to be managed with the right techniques. So, strategies for dealing with risk. There are 4 strategies. In your SBL, it is known as TARA model. Okay, TARA, TARA model. T stands for A stands for R stands for A stands for. Same model we are going to apply here. Accept the risk. A, accepting. M, mitigating, or you can say reducing. Hedging the risk. Okay. Okay, maybe in AFM it's a little different term, because in Tara model it is transfer. T stands for transfer, A stands for acceptance, R stands for reduce, and another A stands for avoidance. You avoid the risk. So here, accept, mitigate, hedge, and diversification. Okay, in AFM these are the terms. So basically, accepting is something which we know. Just accept the risk if risk is very low, less material. It's not so material. Probability of it occurring is less. It's not, impact is less, like it's not so dangerous, so there is no issue of accepting the risk. Why to hedge that risk, right? Hedging is also costly, remember. You cannot hedge any type of risk, and all the risks are not worth of hedging. Some risk is to be accepted. Don't do anything about it, do nothing. Okay, so that we don't have to explain you, right? You don't need a definition for it. Let's come to hedging. because hedging is that major area for us, right? Hedging means you are reducing the risk. Either you are eliminating completely, which is practically not possible to be honest, but you can reduce it to some level. Okay, and this hedging is done through derivative. You buy or you sell a derivative. A perfect hedge, if it's a perfect hedge, means it will eliminate all the risk. But if it eliminates all the risk, remember, risk greater the risk, greater the return, right? Future gains also will be eliminated. That's the problem. So the strategy that you choose, whatever strategy you choose to hedge, remember, your gain has to be more than the loss. Okay, from that. So this is used when downside risk, okay, downside risk means you're falling down, could cause a large negative consequences. If the negative consequence is so large, you have to hedge it. Now, diversification. What does this mean? Diversify means you do not depend on one single customer or a supplier or a location. You diversify. You have range of customer, range of supplier, range of location. That will diversify your risk. Understanding? So even if somewhere some customer is not buying from you, some supplier is not working with you, some location the products are not being sold off well, you can, it will get netted off against the other customer or from the other supply or from the other location where it is doing good, right? That's why diversification is helpful. Now we are aware of two risks when we were studying back. Remember, business risk, financial risk, or you can say gearing risk. Now you must understand the possible impact of this kind of risk. Other risk, they are political risk. This usually comes when you're dealing in a country where politics is unstable or corruption is there, then political risk is high. Okay. Second is economic risk, unemployment, inflation, tax, all this. Regulatory risk because of regulation and all. If regulation is tight, right? Fiscal risk. This is from the government when they try to control demand through government spending and taxation. Okay. Credit risk when the borrowers default on their payment. Let's explain political risk because you need to write on different types of risk. So you need to know the types of risk also. Political risk means mostly this is faced by an overseas investor. Okay, let's say in your host country, the host country's government might take some adverse action only, which might affect your project's return. Right? That's why political risk is important, and you need to take this into the picture because it can affect your project. Examples like government can impose regulations through exchange. They might control the exchange. You might not be able to, let's say, uh, a company as a subsidiary in some other country, and subsidiary has to uh, send remittance back to the parent, and you are not able to send back to the parent 100% remittance. Why? Government has imposed some control. Government says you cannot remit it back. Understanding? So that is exchange control. A company is structured in such a way. Discriminatory actions against foreign firms. The political risk. There might be political unrest or war. How do you manage political risk? First, measure it. Second, you can avoid it. Or do prior negotiation. You can structure the investment. Like local sourcing you can do, or location of facility you can see, you can control the distribution, control the technology, financial measure, and organizational measure, right? Now coming to economic risk. This is little easier to understand. Okay, mostly this is because of unexpected changes in exchange rate. Okay, this has an impact on competitiveness and profitability. So you have to mitigate it by diversification or production, supply, or finance. Long term transaction risk. This can be defined as risk arising from changes in economic condition. Regulatory risk. Regulatory risk is the potential. See, because this is usually theory, okay? Because this is an introduction to risk management. You might be wondering, where is option? Where is swap? Where is all those things? Interest rate. That's coming. That's coming in the next 2 days. This is just an introduction. This is theory basically. Okay? So regulatory risk is mostly because of laws and all. Okay. It could be compliance risk because if you're not complying with the law, you have to pay a penalty. Second, this compliance risk. Okay, this can be general or it could be specific to certain industry. Firms need to manage this risk. Okay. Regulatory risk and compliance risk, they are associated with each other. Physical and credit risk. Physical risk means government, it's like a government policy. Okay. Either they change the tax rule or they change the government spending to control demand. Credit risk is when the borrower default on its payment, either the principal amount or the interest payment. Credit agencies. You must be knowing credit agencies. For example, the Standard and Poor. What do they do? They give ratings to the companies. If you are triple A rated, that means you are in a good. Uh, it's rated good, right? The chances that you are going to default is very less. Probability of you defaulting is very less. But if you are triple C rated or C rated or B rated, you are not so good, right? So this credit agency, the credit ratings that a company gets, through that rating also you can assess the risk. Next, calculation of a credit spread can be used to find the current market value of debt and probability of default. Okay, you don't have to calculate, table will be given to you. Okay, then finally value at risk. You will get a calculation on this. If this is given, they normally give a calculation on this and then they might tell you to explain. Okay, what it means is, see, this is a measure of how much your market value of an asset will fall down over a period of time. Okay, basically that's what value at risk, how much your value will fall down. That's why value at risk, that's a risk, no? If your value of an asset falls down over a period of time, it's a risk, it's not a good thing. That's why the term value at risk comes. It measures that. Okay, it can the time could be anything. Maybe during 10 days how much your value will fall down, 5 days, 1 day, 1 month, anytime. Okay, under normal market conditions. So this is measured by using normal distribution theory. Okay, mostly this is used by security houses or investment banks. Why? Because they are the highest risk. If small changes in the small amount of investment in the wrong asset can have a huge impact. This is used in even in for the pilots and all while you're training and all, right? How much loss it can cause if there's a small percentage change in, let's say, you have missed a turn, or you know, in the auto like in the, what do I say, for the pilots and all, right? Some industries are very risky. There this theory is used, value at risk. So for further reading, on your ACC website there's an ACC article, technical article on risk management. You can read it. That's it for this. Next, we are moving directly to the main thing, hedging foreign exchange risk. Thank you for watching and do not forget to subscribe to my channel.